Hey, it's Ollie and welcome back to the next video in this sequence all about how I learn languages. I'm showing you the exact routines and activities that I do every day to learn languages in what I call my core study time. And if you're not familiar with what I mean by that, then definitely go back and check out the first part of this series. There's a link below in the description that will really help you focus in with your learning and what you're doing. Now today we're going to be talking about learning songs, and specifically learning songs in order to help you improve in the language that you're learning. It's something that some people do, some people don't. It comes very naturally to some. The thing is, I actually find learning songs really hard, and I have to work very hard at remembering the lyrics. Even in English, I've got to do that, right? So in another language, it's really tough, especially if I'm not that advanced in the language yet. And yet, it's such an important thing to do because it creates this emotional bond between you and the language. You just get inside the language by learning a song in a way that's very difficult to do in any other way. And it has so many benefits. You improve your pronunciation, you improve your listening, you learn new vocabulary, and you'll find that when you do learn a song, it'll stick with you for life very much. So if you want to learn a song, but you're finding it quite hard, what's the best way to do it? Well, that's what I'm going to show you in this video. I'm going to show you how I use a specific block of time to intensively learn a song as quickly as possible. So the first point I want to make about learning songs is that it does not come effortlessly to me at all. I really have to work hard at it, and that's why learning songs is included in this core study sequences series, because it's something I have to do every day to really not only learn the lyrics but actually be able to, rehearse them and sing it convincingly by the end. Alright, so it's not easy, and the first thing I do, like when I learned this song, for example, in Cantonese, was to get a copy of the song on my phone so I could listen to it over and over for the whole period that I was learning the song. So you've got to be able to listen to it so you can familiarise yourself with the sound of the song, the melody, the harmony, even before you start learning the lyrics. The next thing I do is I look for the lyrics online, and I'll print them off on a piece of paper. Now this is useful because I like to be able to just kind of get it out at any point. If I'm waiting for the bus, I like to be able to just pull out the lyric sheet and look over it, check the word meaning, check a word, check something I've forgotten. So you've got to make it portable. You could put it on your phone, I guess. I quite like to have a piece of paper because it helps me to actually, I don't know, I just like that tactile thing. Now once you've got the lyrics printed out and somewhat accessible, the next step is to actually listen to the song over and over, following through with the lyrics. Just simply familiarise yourself with what's being sung and the words on the page. It helps you to just kind of prep yourself for learning it. After doing that for a while, I will then go through and I'll look up any words that I don't know. Now in the case of this song, because it's written in standard Chinese, there are a ton of words I didn't know. But you've got to go through that process. The biggest mistake you can make with learning songs is to just learn words that you don't know the meaning of. I've done that in the past and it's a total waste of time. So look up the words, make sure you know what you're singing, and then just go through and make sure you are familiar with all the vocabulary. Now next comes the actual really hard work of committing the stuff to memory, and I've actually got a very specific process that I use now to learn song lyrics. I start off line by line, and I'll go through and I'll listen to the first line, I'll sing it back, and I'll get the first line from memory, which is pretty easy, right? One line is not too bad. But then what I'll do is I'll go on to a second line, and I'll usually just learn two lines at once, because what I find happens is that you very quickly get confused. So even if you learn something, you're liable to forget it very quickly. So what I will typically do is learn one line from memory, then go on to learn the next line, so two short lines, and then that's it for the day. I'll then go off and get on with my day and then try to repeat those two lines as many times as I can, because what you'll find is that an hour later you'll forget something. You'll forget one of the words, you'll forget a note, something you'll forget. And so I simply say to myself, right, today's challenge is just to learn these two lines. I'll come back the next day and then I'll move on to the following line or the following two lines. And then I've got 4 lines, and so then I'll say that's enough, and I'll go off for the day and I'll just learn those 4 lines, and I'll just repeat them over and over, and then I'll forget some words, I'll go back and I'll check, and then it's a long process of doing that, of basically saying adding 2 lines at a time until I feel like I've got them down. And this takes days, it can take weeks even. But that's the process I go through. Now, one thing that's really, really helpful I found is to actually try and do it in reverse. So once you've learnt 4 lines, and you can do line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, we'll then go back in reverse. So do line 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2. And then what this does is it forces your brain to understand the sequence of lines. Because the real tricky thing with songs is as soon as you actually get to wanting to perform it, or to actually sing it for someone when there's some pressure and you can't go back and correct yourself, which is the true measure of whether you know a song or not, what happens is that the performance gets in the way, because you worry about, oh, what does my voice sound like, or have I got a crescendo or the diminuendo in the right place, or whatever. So you've got to know the structure beyond simply knowing it sequentially. And then finally, once you think you've actually learnt the song, you haven't. That's when the really hard work begins, because then you've got to do what I'm doing here, which is actually practice the performance of the song. What you don't see here in the final product is that I probably practiced literally sitting down and playing this for a week or more before I recorded this video, because the thing is, you're not just reeling off the words here, you're also playing, and you're trying to do a performance, right? And that's the bit that takes practice. Learning the words and learning the melody and all that is just the very first step. So once you've memorized the song itself, then practice it, get people to listen to it, whatever. Do what you've got to do to make sure that you know it, because the real joy of this is actually being able to sing it at some point in some event, or some, I don't know, whatever, karaoke, something silly like that. So the performance is what's going to embed this in your mind and make sure you can then you have it forever. Alright, so I hope that was useful for you. The final step in this whole process, of course, is to get a native speaker to listen to you singing the song, and they can point out little things like pronunciation errors or something that's not quite right. It sounds like pretty intense, but the thing is that learning a song is an intensive process, and it's one of those rare opportunities in language learning to really get deep into what you're doing. You're not just learning words for the sake of it, you're learning it with good pronunciation to deliver these words, these lyrics, the same way that the singer or the composer intended. Alright, so good luck. I hope you find it. I'd love you to post a video of a song that you've got. Super motivating to do that. I'll put a link to this particular one, plus all the other songs and everything else in this series in the description below this video, so check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy it and you want more of this, and also if you enjoyed this video or you know someone else that might benefit from it, please take a second to share it. Thanks, and I'll see you back in the next video in this series.